It's a pleasure to be here in the fourcornersproject.org studio here in Beit Shemesh, Israel. And we are so lucky we have with us one of my close friends and an original 6-member of Shlock Rock, and even before Shlock Rock, Kesher, Yonah Lloyd. Yonah Lloyd, give us a
Lenny
hand.
Solomon. Thank you for having me.
So,
Thank you.
first thing we're going to do some paperwork in the middle of the show, around 15 minutes in. I'm going to have to do the paperwork because we are in the middle of our 40-day end-of-year campaign, which is very, very important. And we also have to tell people about all the shows that are coming up. But let's get right into it because we have a lot of stuff to talk about, a lot of stuff. So the first thing...
so little time. And so little time.
You are one of the building blocks of Shlock, you know. One of the original 6, one of the pillars, the foundation, the as John Belushi would say, you were the backbone of the band.
You have something in common with John Belushi, but we'll get to that later.
Oh, really? Okay, so first thing is, Yonah, why don't you tell everybody how we met and how you joined the band?
Oh, my goodness. Okay. Well, first of all, Hanukkah Sameach, Lenny and everybody.
Oh, yeah, Hanukkah Sameach.
Okay, we're here. I'm here at home in Chashmonaim, so it's natural that I kind of wanted to do a Hanukkah show with you for the Chashmonaim, right?
Yes, Chashmonaim is integral, of course, to Hanukkah. And in Israel, there's a lot of neighborhoods right around Chashmonaim, like Maccabim.
And Lapid and Modi'in, all the whole story happened in this neighborhood. Yeah.
Wow, that's unbelievable.
This is our big tourist season, or we used to be anyway. And hey, Lenny, Chodesh Tov. It is Rosh Chodesh.
That's right. It's Rosh Chodesh. It's new moon.
Ba 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 ba.
New moon, new moon, new moon.
Remember recording that?
Oh yeah, no. We better not do a cappella.
No. How did we meet? Okay, so first of all, I know how you think we met, but I think we met even before how you think you thought we met, because you said, first of all, I'm like your biggest fan, by the way. I have seen all 64 of your shows. I love you. I love what you've done. You completely were a game changer in both the Jewish music industry and the Jewish outreach industry and Jewish education industry. A one-man show. You did it all. Did you have a manager?
No.
Did you have an agent? Did you have a publicist? Did you? No, it was Lenny. And so, kol hakavod, all props, as they say, to you, Solomon.
Thank you.
Amazing. So I'm a huge fanboy of yours. And you said on one of your previous shows that you started your musical career in 1981, right?
Right.
With a band called?
The Shemesh Orchestra.
The Shemesh Orchestra. By the way, you live in Beit Shemesh, so kind of nice full circle.
I thought about that. It's funny.
The Shemesh Orchestra. And the Shemesh Orchestra used to play NCSY Shabbatons.
That's right.
In 1981, I was the Torah Fund chairman for Long Island Ma'alot NCSY, which means it is very likely that we met. I was at every event, and I'm sure you and Rabbi Arl. I mean, you played one of Rabbi Arlovsky's events. I'm sure.
Yes, right, because it was started in September '81 was the first time, and '82, that season '81-'82, I was already playing Long Island region in the middle of. In kind of like March '82, I bet you were at that Shabbaton.
No question, I was there. No question. And have we ever talked about this before?
No, we have never talked about it.
I held out on you until I had the opportunity in front of the millions that are watching you live to tell the story. How did we meet? I'll tell you how we met. We met because you were on a date. You know what? You should tell the story. It was your date. I wasn't there.
Yes, but you told me this yesterday, and I had forgotten. So I was on a date, and I mentioned to this girl that I was looking for a guitar player for my band, Kesher, because the lead guitar player, who was Shlomo Horowitz, was moving to Baltimore, or maybe he was even living in Baltimore at the time.
Yeah.
And we had to replace him, and her name was Randy, and she said, I was in Israel last year, and my friend played guitar with one hand and piano with another hand. You told me this yesterday. So, and then you said, and then I said, well, I'd like to meet him. And then I auditioned you in my
So I got
shul.
wait, hang on. So I'll take it from here because you wouldn't know what my end of it was. I got a phone call, I guess, at some point, and it's you on the phone. Hi, this is Lenny Solomon, band of Kesher, and we need a guitar player. Are you interested? And I said, let me think about it. So I hang up because I had no interest in playing Jewish music at the time. I was all of 19 years old, and I was into rock and roll. And you know, we could talk about Jewish music because I loved some of it, but it didn't seem like something I was interested in playing. And so I started to ask around, and I started asking people, does anybody know Kesher? Well, I'd never heard of you guys, right? I wasn't into the scene. And somebody said, I think they just did a concert, and they lit candles on the stage. You did, right?
Yes, for the song Matale.
I said, they didn't say that. I said to myself, oh, cool. They're like into satanic stuff. Okay, I'll call this guy back. So I called you back, and I was like, Len, I'd love to meet you. No problem. And I have this whole scene in my head. Anyway, I get to your house, and it was a totally different scene. Walk in the door, lost my feet. That's the story for another time.
Well, we were a very lived-in household, as all my friends will attest to.
And I was, and you had said, no, but you know what you had done? You had sent me a tape somehow because I learned you had a great musician in your band, Rabbi Joey Friedman, not a rabbi at the time. And he had been playing some guitar, and you sent me a tape of a show, and you did the song Hafachta by Diaspora Yeshiva Band.
Right.
And I figured, what I need to do here is just learn exactly what Joey did on that gig, and I'll get the job, which is what I did. You sat me down, we played. I said, let's play a fachta. Okay, we did a fachta. I played his solo note for note. I think that was it.
Yeah, there was yes. And also I thought, wow, this is the type of person I want in my band, because you weren't a standstill guitar player.
Oh, no.
No, so you were a rock and roll guitar player, which really my whole goal was to take Kesher in that direction. And eventually the reason that Tzvi Pill and I went our own separate ways was because Tzvi wanted to do more weddings and bar mitzvahs, and I wanted to do concerts. And Schlock Rock was a spin-off from Kesher, because when we put out that first album, Learning is Good, Schlock Rock was part of Kesher. We used to play Schlock Rock songs during Kesher concerts. And then finally, we had a little bit of I don't want to say a falling out, because we never really fell out, but I went my own separate way. I told Tzvi I'm going to go and become a Jewish rock and roller, which is what I wanted to.
You dragged me along with you.
And you came along with me.
Come, Schlock Rock's going to be fun. Wait, but speaking of Kesher, hang on, because I brought a goodie.
Okay.
I don't think you've seen in Low these 34 years, maybe. I don't know. But if anybody has one of these, okay, in the audience, this would be a real find. All right. Look at this list of
Kesher USA on the front, the Kesher USA tour, and all the cities that we played on the back.
And all the cities that we played. So,
and that logo was fabulous.
Fabulous.
I love that logo.
Oh. Who did the logo? It was before me, but who did the logo?
I don't know. Tzvi Pill had somebody do it. Tzvi was an excellent businessman, and he was a very good drummer, and had a great voice. And we actually, Tzvi Pill and I, met at Camp Dor Golding. That's how we got together. Which was a Federation camp that I went to for 2 summers. So when I was 13 and 14, or 14 and 15. But
so you dragged me along. Listen, I was a kid. I was a teenager, and I was at school. And next thing I know, right, I had my first frequent flyer airline card from the great, but no longer existing Piedmont Airlines, which was really our airline. Okay, we were on that airplane every weekend.
That's right. We would fly to Norfolk. We would fly to Richmond. We would fly to wherever they went, because we played Shabbatons every weekend for NCSY.
We did.
It was fun.
And then came this sort of big moment. There was this transformation in our lives that took place. So I'm going to ask you, and see if you know. I'm going to ask you two questions that have the exact same answer. Okay. Question number 1 about your Belushi comment, right?
Yeah.
What does Lenny Solomon have in common with John Belushi and Robin Williams and Bruce Springsteen and Frank Sinatra and Marilyn Monroe and Tony Bennett and President Nixon and John Lennon, and even Elvis Presley. And Lenny Solomon is in that same category. And the second question, which still has the same answer, is what was the biggest audience that you ever played to that heard your music, that heard your message, and we're all watching you at the same time? Let's go back to January 1986.
Should I roll that film?
Roll what I sent you. Absolutely.
Okay.
Joe Franklin. People, you're in for a treat.
May I begin with the obvious question from a couple of young men on the end? What is the meaning of the word kesher, starting with?
Well, kesher is a Hebrew word. It means connection. And what we've tried to do recently with our music is take the environmental themes of today's music, rock and roll, and the pop music, put them and make a connection with Jewish themes and Hebrew words.
Yonah Lloyd and Lenny Solomon of kesher.
That's it.
Means connection.
Means connection.
Means like you're trying to connect with the rest of the world?
Sort of.
Right.
We tour on weekends, and we've been already to Atlanta and Savannah and St. Louis.
What do you do the rest of the week?
Well, I used to be an accountant, but right now I'm in music full time, working for the Jewish Public School Youth Movement.
Right.
And I'm in Queens College, undergrad. That's right.
Gail, you want to hear a sample?
Sure, I'd love it.
Want to hear a sample, Wendy?
Yeah.
They're of the moment. They're hot. The records are, haven't you won some awards or won some?
Well, yeah, we have a song right now which is number 3 on the charts in Israel.
Wow.
Okay. And moving up, hopefully.
If you want to know what means kesher, it means good music, and here is a touch of kesher, a TV version.
And look at us, kids.
Lenny Solomon and Yonah Lloyd of a group called Kesher. They're hot, they're of the moment, and you're going to tell your grandchildren someday you met them here, you know that? All you other groups, watch out, you're in trouble. Would it come in handy if you sang a few songs in English? What do you think? Do you sometimes?
Well, we do, as a matter of fact. We have a mixture. We do some song parodies, too, like the Weird Al Yankovic type stuff with Jewish themes.
Do you get that weird?
Yeah.
Oh, my God.
Do you get that weird? Joe Franklin.
We get that weird.
We got that weird. By the way, his name was Joe Fortgang. Check them out.
I didn't know that. His real name is Joe Fortgang?
Yeah. He may be related to, the Fort Schlamey or whoever you might know from the Fortgang.
Joe Franklin.
I'm telling you, Len.
I didn't know John Belushi was on Joe Franklin, though.
Everybody was on Joe Franklin. Everybody. Let's just get the audience to understand what's going on here. Joe Franklin was the longest running talk show host in the history of the world ever, period. Okay. He had the show since the 50s, ran for like 40 some odd years, just him. His office was a mess. Okay. Made your house look pristine. He sat behind a desk, a billion folders all over the place. And we went out and we got that big Kesher.
Me and you, I went with you and we met him. We met him before we went on.
Right.
You remember? I remember going into his office. There were papers everywhere. I mean, there wasn't a place that you could move without papers. And he was sitting behind this big desk piled up with papers. But he was such a mensch. Oh.
Such a great guy. He was solid. Did you get any follow-up interest after that show?
So the next day I got a phone call from a friend of mine who I went to MTA with, who was flipping channels because the show was on from 1 a.m. to 2 a.m. or something, or 11 to 12. It was really on. It was a late night show. It was like opposite. I don't even think it was past Carson. Johnny Carson was finished after that. It was like the late show.
But he was really big. First of all, do you remember that Billy Crystal used to do a Joe Franklin impression?
Yes, Manischewitz. He used to do this whole Manischewitz bit.
Yeah.
Yes.
He used to be on I remember he used to be on at 4 p.m. on WOR because it was followed by like the $1 Million Movie or something they used to have on Channel 9 in the afternoon. Joe was a legacy and a legend, and so
and that was our first TV appearance. And I want you to know, to all the audience out there watching, Danny Block just commented. Danny Block just chimed in. He comments, Lenny Solomon calling someone else's place a mess. Really?
Hey, Danny.
No, Danny, you don't understand. This was really worse than anything. I mean, it was bad. Okay, yeah. We're not going to go there. Listen. Danny, we're going to get you on in a couple of weeks. We got to get you on after the December hiatus. We are such Hollywood people now. And you know, this is the last show of 2020 that we're going to be doing live. You know what?
By the way, and I had to work really hard. Remember, I watched 64 of your shows. I had to work really hard to find a baseball hat that you had not yet worn. And I was like keeping track. I don't think you have a Golden State Warriors hat, so I
do not, and I do not have a Golden State Warriors hat. That's the first, and I am wearing, because you said you'd be wearing a hat that I had never worn. I went through my hats that I've never worn, and I'm wearing a Brooklyn Cyclone hat that somebody gave me.
It's funny you should say, because I was going to wear, this looks like such a setup, but it's not a setup. I was going to wear a Met hat,
right?
But really, it's a visor. Visors are very not cool.
So, right. Well, you know what?
But I'm a Met fan, and so, you know.
Listen, they've got a good new owner, and but we shouldn't talk about the Mets right now, because Danny's writing, I have a lot of hockey jerseys. Yes, you do. Yes, you do, Danny. Okay, so let's do this. Let me just tell the audience, because we are, believe it or not, 17 minutes in already, which is unbelievable.
Time flies when you're.
We have tomorrow night, which is the 16th of December, and the 7th night of Hanukkah. I'm doing a show for the Jewish Federation of South Palm Beach County and PJ Library. That should be online. There should be a link for you to watch it. Don't know what time it is. I think it's 6 p.m. actually, which is 1 a.m. in Israel. But for those of you who are on the East Coast, 6 p.m., I will be doing a show there. The 20th, I am one of the celebrities on the game show Holy Yid Squares.
Lenny. Lenny. No, Lenny, really.
Yes, Holy Yid Squares.
I just want to know. Did you get the Paul Lind? Did you get that center?
Paul Lind is the
middle. Holy center square.
Paul Lind is the middle space. I think they gave that to Mordechai Ben David. You know, Lenny Solomon doesn't get the middle square.
Oh my goodness.
Or I could be the Rich Little, but you know, I didn't get him either. I think I'm one of the middle. I think I'm the middle, like right or middle left.
That's great.
It was so much fun. Mordechai Ben David, Avram Fried, Shia Mendlowitz, A.B. Rottenberg, Yisrael Lamb.
Serious.
Big names. And then there was me. I was I thought I was like the 9th guy, but there was, you know, it was fun. It was really fun. And
looking forward to that. Yeah.
So, all right. So, anyway, so those are the 3. And then so now let's talk about, just for 30 seconds, everybody out there, all the people that have watched all the shows, who love our videos, who love our songs, our albums, our webisodes, guys, you have to go to the website, www.fourcornersproject.org, make a donation for the year. You still have 17 days or 16 days until the end of 2020, so you can get a tax-deductible donation and keep us going. That's
important. The accountant. There's the accountant in you coming out.
That's right, the accounting degree. As I told Joe Franklin that I'm an accountant, which I was. I left accounting. No, I had already left accounting.
Yeah, well, you said on the show you were doing music full-time now, Jewish Public School Youth. But did you notice, by the way, how almost prophetic Joe was at the end there when he said, hey, guys, do you do any songs in English? Now, he didn't know about Schlock.
No.
He didn't. That was the transformational month, right? Because January 86 is when we went in. Was that when we went into the studio?
January 86 was the launch of Schlock Rock Learning is Good. So we were in the studio December 85.
December, okay, a month
we hadn't
earlier.
released that album. That album just came out that week, January 26th, 86. And that show aired, for everybody out there, it aired January, I believe it was 30th, 1986, January 30th. I mean, I remember these Meshuggah dates. How I remember it, I don't know, but that it was our first TV appearance. How could you not remember it? You always remember your first TV appearance.
Right.
You know.
But that was when Schlock Rock started to almost become real. It wasn't real yet.
No,
okay?
It was not.
But at least you had an album in the can, right? Which is
yes, we did.
And
it took 3 months for that album to catch on once we released it. And it was what an experience. And it's so different today. I mean, you think about it, people get starting in the business today. It's just a totally different experience for me. Back then, it was jumping around from distributor to distributor, dropping off 50 CDs here, going to radio stations, dropping off CDs. But there were no CDs. It was cassettes. I was dropping off cassettes. We didn't even have vinyl. Vinyl had left. CDs had not come in yet, and it was cassettes, which is crazy.
Right.
Let's talk for a second about songwriting. Do you remember if you wrote any songs with me? Both Schlock Rock and Kesher.
Okay, I do. I'll tell you, I remember I wrote one song for Kesher called Romamu, but I remember it because one day we were playing it somewhere, and it turns out that it became a dance. Like there was a Romamu dance. Yeah. And I'm like, oh my God, wow, we've arrived. Like
that had to be Seaboard Region. That had to be Seaboard Region.
I think it was maybe. I know they were dancing it in Stern College. So it was like a dance.
So then it was the advisors that made up the dance, right?
That was something. Romamu. So that was for Kesher. No, but you wrote almost everything in Kesher
I remember Romamu. I love that song. I've even played it on one of these shows. I think I can't remember. I believe I played it on one of these shows.
You did. And then for Schlock Rock, Cohen, but Cohen was more of a just popped into my head kind of a goof. I wrote it. I gave it to you
because it was a Belushi, Aykroyd, Blues Brothers.
Indeed. Yeah, and it turned into a great stage.
Great song. Oh.
It was, and it was a great stage show for us because Danny and I don't know, Danny might still be listening. Danny and I would do the, going into each other, and it was with the steps, and we had the dances going on. So it ended up.
Yeah, we had some great dance moves that you guys did. The Thriller song where we did Tefillah. We all did the Michael Jackson move. We tried to do the Michael Jackson. Jerry Aloof was popping in saying, "Hi, kids."
Hey, Jerry.
There we go. Is everybody who has followed Schlock Rock and Yonah and myself for the last?
I have to tell you, it's one thing. You have songwriting. I mean, that was definitely your domain. We all kind of kicked in a little bit, but there are certain songs, at least for me, okay, that I remember so much looking forward to playing because they were just, to me, they were great. Like if you were to ask me, you could ask me since I'm here, like what the favorite songs were to play as a musician, and maybe when Danny's on, you can ask Danny. Everybody will have their feel.
Yeah, what did you like the best? What songs did you like playing when I called them?
I'll tell you what I like the best. I love Streets of Jerusalem.
Oh yeah,
and you didn't see that coming.
Did not know.
I love it. It's got the best groove. It builds. The words are beautiful. The whole crescendo of the song, it's stunning. I love Streets of Jerusalem. So that's a big one for me. I love Minion Man, but for a different reason. It's a great song. Don't get me. It's one of your biggest, if not most popular songs, both from you and the Maccabees, right?
Right.
What I love about it, I remember the last time we played it together in the amphitheater in Beit Shemesh one year. Full house, screaming everybody. But the best part is you didn't have to sing because everybody knew it. So it's one of those moments in a concert where you hear the audience singing your own song back at you, right?
Yes. That's the Bruce Springsteen moments. We had those moments, there were a number of times when I felt that. When we played YU, when I played Yeshiva University, we would feel that. because the kids knew everything that we were playing, and they weren't kids; they were maybe
They were my contemporaries. Remember, I was still 20.
They knew everything. They knew everything we were playing.
And they knew it all. Yeah.
And you remember when we played in Israel the what was called the Soldiers? When we played the I'm forgetting the word.
Oh, you mean the Machane Shmonim?
Machane Shmonim.
Sure.
The girls were in 2 weeks of training. That's right, training. That's the word I'm looking for.
We didn't know it was a girls only army base.
We did not.
We're just sitting there la-di-da setting up.
And then all of a sudden, 250 girls burst in. We start playing. We played for 2 hours straight. They burst. We never said a word to them.
No.
We never said a word to them before the show. We never said a word to them after, but they went crazy. That was a Bruce Springsteen moment. I said, oh, my God.
Now, but remember, they just thought you were some rock band from America. Like they don't know schlock rock.
Right.
It's just, wow, American guys, American music, and they dance like crazy for 2 straight hours.
Right.
Some great footage of that in the videos that we made the video on the trip, which was really fun. And then there was England. And then there was England.
Schlock Rock Videos Volume 1. That's where we made Schlock Rock Videos Volume 1. Yeah.
But I think the trip to England, and I know I think Gary may have been talking about it also, or I don't remember, but that was such a shining moment, you know, for the group. And it reminds me because I brought another toy to show.
Oh,
to show you how impressed I was. I kept this. This is February 1993. Okay. This is the playbill. Now, lest you think it's one of these 4-page things, this is literally like a Broadway playbill. It's loaded with advertisements, pictures, and everything. It's just
it was
put
amazing
everything into it. So apparently, actually, I was one of the sponsors. I didn't even realize at the time.
Lloyd's Bank. I didn't know that you had a bank. And
now you know. And the other thing is that it features a very interesting once and only image of you, Lenny. If anybody can you find Lenny in this picture? Probably not, because you're not wearing glasses, Len.
Yes, no glasses.
Check it out.
No glasses.
I think that's the only time you've taken a professional picture without your glasses. And look.
Yes, I'm not even sure why I did that.
It was for the international edition. That's why it was for the Brits. Okay, I have to ask you one thing though. One question that's been on my mind. Okay, first of all, musical influences is a very important topic, right? And we all have similar. You know, we grew up a few years apart, and similar secular influences, right?
Right.
All right. I remember when we were out on the circuit, and then you had Mark Skyer on, and Kabbalah came on onto the scene, and I watched that episode, and I was so excited because I think I would say that band was my favorite Jewish band ever.
Top 3 for sure, with Diaspora and Judea. For me, Diaspora, Judea, Kabbalah. Right.
So I love Kabbalah, and I had a bias because the guitar player Izzy was my roommate at Yeshivat HaKotel.
Amazing.
Yeah. So we both had our guitars there. We would jam, we would hang, get to know each other. We even played some gigs. We had our own little band in Israel. And then Kabbalah came out, and boom, that was amazing. But another one that was a huge influence for me was Steve Samenowitz. Do you know Steve Samenowitz?
Yeah, of course. And he had the Jewish Blues album, right?
He came out in '79 with this Jewish blues had never been done before. He was a neighbor of mine where I grew up in Long Beach. And he came out with this album, and I was his roadie. So I was going to these gigs with Raya Mehemna and Diaspora, Town Hall, and Brooklyn College, all these gigs that were going on in like 81, 82, getting to see the scene, right? As the schlepper. I was setting up the amps and selling the merchandise and whatever.
Right.
And Steve was such an influence on me because not only an incredible musicologist and musician, but a mensch and just talked to me about the industry and kind of didn't know he was preparing me for you. But about a year or two later, I met you and I'm like, well, I'm ready for this. Okay, I can handle being,
Look, it was really great being in Jewish music if you think about it, because the secular world had its pitfalls. Jewish music was not exactly. We didn't have to go down the road of let's call it non-Torah behavior. Would you say? Would you agree with this?
You had a message, and we stuck to it and lived it and shared it. And I think, look, I'm not just a fan of yours. I support the fourcornersproject.org. It's so interesting and creative to not give up on the fact that there's so many kids that don't get reached in a conventional way. You proved it over and over again. You're the legend for. You mentioned guys like Ben David, and you talk about Freed or all the other guys you mentioned. But if you were to ask them who's had the most hashpa'ah, who's had the most influence on the youth in America, because public school kids aren't listening to MBD, and they're not listening to whomever is the flavor of the month, every few years. There was no connection for them. It was you.
Right.
You opened that up.
Yeah, I always called Shlock Rock the pipeline. It was the pipeline between the secular world and the Jewish world.
So now you take that into an online experience with Four Corners Project. And so I'm hugely impressed with what you're doing. And I hope everybody just says, okay, this is a proven thing. It's not as if you're sending your money somewhere and saying, well, maybe it'll work, maybe it won't. This one's going to work. So
yeah, it's worked for 34 years. It's unbelievable. And I, as I always say on my shows, it was not a plan. This was not the plan, and Yonah, when we left Kesher and went into Shlock Rock, that was 87, 88. 88 right. We started playing shows. It was like a dream come true, actually, if you think about it. I mean, I never planned on doing that. I mean, we've toured the world. I mean,
and got paid. We got paid.
We got paid too. We got paid also.
We were kids. I'm telling you, Len, I would have paid money to be able to experience that, to play concerts around the world and just be on the road, get to know people like, Eitan G, who's, grew up in it and then took it to his level, or everyone else who kind of, connected JJ Oliver Shalom and Dr. D. You're going to have him on the show, right? You got to get Dr.
Bet
D.
Dr. D is going to come on very soon. Yep.
Amazing. And that was it was entertaining. Okay. It was life affirming. It was experience. It was a course. I would have paid, but you paid me. I wasn't going to say no.
That's funny. Yeah. But it was, I was getting paid too. So it was really, it was really fine. And we got to be creative, and we got to do stuff out of the box. We never had to worry. It was another thing. And we're already at 33 minutes, so we're gonna wrap this up. Yeah, I told you this would flow flow a lot, but I just the greatest thing about it was we weren't owned by an organization. We didn't really have to worry about offending the people that we worked for, because we worked for Hashem. Everything that I did was always like, it has to be done, and I didn't worry about offending people, which is how we did rap, because people would, oh, you can't do rap, or you can't do this, or you can't do that. And, oh, yes, we can. We have to. Yeah. You have to do it.
You have to.
Because that's what they're listening to.
Otherwise, you won't succeed in the platform. It's a platform.
Yeah.
Okay. And you evolve over time. You've had how many records or what records? Excuse me.
39 projects 39. With number 40. As soon as I write number 40, I've been threatening to write number 40, but it hasn't happened yet. But the plan is that this year to record number 40 and 41. And 41 is going to be a classic Shlock Rock parody album with songs from the 70s and 80s. Maybe we're going to do even something from Peter Frampton.
Ooh, baby, show me the way. Lenny, I hear you going to America. You're going to America. You're going to America.
So anyway, I think we have to wrap it up, because I think we are at 35 minutes already. But Yonah, I just want to say how much fun it was to have you. And
I had a great time.
For everybody out there, watch all the shows over the next 2 weeks. Go to the fourcornersproject.org studio and website. place a donation for the year. We're going to be back. We have the 3 shows you as we mentioned, tomorrow night in Florida, this Sunday, Holy in Squares, and then the special January 3rd Zoom for anybody that donates $100 or more is in our Zoom question and answer and concert. And then we come back with another Lenny Solomon Live on Monday night, January 4th, or Monday afternoon if you're in New York. Everybody out there.
You're going to America, yes?
Yes. Well, if weather permitting, and El just sent me a message. I haven't read it. El sent me a text, but I'm flying tomorrow night, coming to New York on Thursday for 11 days. Anybody who wants to be in touch with me, you can be in touch with me. And I will be back December 29th in Israel.
To quote the great Mrs. Solomon, your mother, Lenny, you should go safely and come safely.
Yes, amen. And my mother definitely would say that and says it all the time. So with that, we're going to end the show. Everybody out there, have a great rest of Hanukkah. Keep on schlocking. And remember, what are we going to finish with? Be good. Be cool. Be Jewish.
Thanks, Len.